So here we have our exercise for Thursday, November 19th, and we are starting to divide fractions. So we only spent one day finding reciprocals. By now, you should be confident in finding the reciprocals before you start dividing. Do not start dividing your fractions until you learn how to find the reciprocal. If you need help with Monday or Wednesday's lesson, please let me know before you start the division exercises. So here for page 41, after you complete your review exercises and speed drills, we're going to start here with our samples. Now, the book gives you a few examples up here, but it doesn't show you every single step. So we're going to do them together. And what you're going to notice is when you divide fractions, you're actually not doing much dividing at all. And this is why. To divide fractions, you have to find the reciprocal of the second number, then multiply the fractions. So here for sample 1, we're going to do this one together. Here we have 1/2 divided by 1/3. So we're just going to follow the directions step by step. Step 1, we find the reciprocal of the second fraction. So what we're going to do is flip this. Instead of 1/3, we have 3/1. We bring down our first fraction, and now we multiply. So dividing the fraction, what you're doing is actually multiplying by the reciprocal. So here we have a lot of practice in multiplying these simple fractions. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 1 is 2. Of course, when you see an improper fraction as your solution, you change it to a mixed numeral. 1 and 1/2 would be the mixed numeral of 3/2. Again, just in case, if you don't remember how to do the mixed numeral in your head, you just divide the denominator into the numerator. 1 and 1/2. By now, I think you're very confident in that, but just in case. Let's do sample 2. And on sample 2, we actually have a mixed numeral. So we're going to use the concepts that we learned on Monday and Wednesday to divide these fractions. And because there are so many new steps, it's important to go slowly, make sure that every single step is finished, because if you miss one, you're going to get your answer wrong. So here, although we should find the reciprocal of the second number, we first have to change this mixed numeral to an improper fraction, because we cannot multiply fractions until they are in that form. So again, we're going to do 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, and then our denominator stays the same. We're multiplying, not dividing. Then our second number, we find the reciprocal. Now, here we have a whole number. So remember, our whole number would become a fraction, 2/1, and then we'll flip it. So we end up with 1/2. Multiply, 5 times 1 is 5, over 4. We change our improper fraction to a mixed numeral, which we end up with 1 and 1/4. But again, you can divide the denominator into the numerator if you still feel like you need to do that. I think what I'm going to do is actually sample 2 one more time, because I think that sample 2 is a great way to learn every step, because you have to not only find the reciprocal of a whole number, but you also have to change a mixed numeral into an improper fraction. So if you feel like you need just a little bit more reinforcement, just stick around while I do sample 2 one more time. If you're very confident, you can go on to the next lesson. So just one more time, we have 2.5 divided by 2. We change our mixed numeral to an improper fraction. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5. Our denominator stays the same. We're multiplying the reciprocal. The whole number would be made into 2 over 1 as a fraction, but then we flip that and we have 1 over 2. We multiply our fraction now, change our improper fraction to a mixed numeral, in this case 1 1/4. And how do we get that? Just in case, 4 goes into 5 once, and we end up with 1 1/4. So here we're on page 71. We are on Thursday's exercise. This will be the last written language arts exercise of the week. So here for Think B, you're going to write correct. You're going to write the word correct in the blank if the compound pronouns are used correctly. If the sentence contains an error in the use of a compound pronoun, write the correct pronoun in the blank. So something I've noticed is you may send me either a blank when it's wrong, or you'll say incorrect, but that's not what you're supposed to do. I'm going to highlight this. If the sentence is wrong, you don't write wrong or incorrect. You correct it and write the correct pronoun in the blank. So you're going to have to use your reference here on page 70, which was on Wednesday's lesson. You might have to go back to your subjective, objective, possessive case pronouns on page 66 and 67. I encourage you to read numbers 1 through 15 out loud. That's the easiest way to identify if a sentence is making sense or not. But if you're unsure, please correct them by using your reference pages. When you're done, you're going to have just 3 creative writing sentences. I don't want to see sentences that are just 3 words. Make your sentences have a little bit more subject to them, a little bit more content. All you're doing is writing a sentence using the different kinds of case personal pronouns, 1 for subjective, 1 for objective, 1 for possessive, and then circling it. So you're going to go back to your reference page if you don't already have them memorized. They're all here. Pick 1 from each column. Write your own sentence, so make up your own sentence, an appropriate one, and then circle the pronoun that you used. So any sentence using 1 from each column. So here we have our spelling assignment for Thursday. And all you're doing here is filling in the blanks with the correct words. In this case, it's going to be correct list word. So make sure that you're not just looking at your pattern words, but you're looking at your whole list. These are small cursive words. They look like, it seems like you guys are doing a good job understanding all of the cursive writing, but you can also flip for script writing here on page 51, but I encourage you to continue reading in cursive. So you're just going to read this little passage on pollution and littering, and then you're going to find each of the list words that exist here. You're going to write them down here. There are 11 of them. So as soon as you determine which word fits, you can immediately just write it down here. Notice that they go horizontal, not vertical. And then make sure that you have your definitions written for your pattern words this week.